And ask what activity that you scheduled with Annabelle that think of the future and what are you looking? Why did you pick that one and what you might be expecting?
Okay, one of the ones that I just ended up doing was the newspaper. To do that one with them for later on, where they actually have to write as if they're writing a newspaper article. And I felt like that one, because we're just starting to transition into the nonfiction writing, I felt like that one would be something that would be a little bit more authentic for them, instead of just coming up with fiction stories and make-believe stories. Now actually taking something that they've learned and put it into a nonfiction sort of format.
Okay, great, good. Any other? Was there another one you?
I just did that one. We're gonna do the staged reading. We had started doing that one with the class, and they loved it. And they loved, especially the part where Segismundo ends up tossing the servant out the window. When they were acting it out, they were afraid of actually pushing the girl, to toss her out the window. But they loved that section to be able to do that. So just to have them practice also with their fluency, because a lot of them read word for word. So having this is a very good way for them to actually practice the fluency.
Yeah. Plays are like that. It makes it authentic to do that, not fake to do that for them, so they don't feel like it's being remedial. It's just normal.
Right, and I was trying to tell them too. It's when they're acting something out or they're talking, they have to pretend that they're the actual actors and not, they don't go to the movie theaters and listen to somebody read word for word. They actually pretend that they're that person in the script, so they have to read it the same way. So yeah, I thought that would be a good one.
So, what has surprised you? Tell me about anything that surprised you so far about the life as a dream thing.
Right. My class just can't put it down. They just want to keep going with it, and they're just so excited about it, and they just want to keep going more and more. It really, I think just all the history that's involved with this play, I didn't think the kids would really pick up on it, and they've been taking off with it. They really have been asking questions and not understanding, the whole cousin relationship and wanting to be married to one another for power. Like, what does that mean? And why is it that other countries still have kings and queens while the U.S. doesn't? So it kind of starts talking more about government things, and it was neat. It really started leading them into different directions. I actually covered everything that's in our regular curriculum. So it was neat. It was very neat, very surprising.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's another one of my questions, is to ask you to talk a little bit about, because people might, when we get this sort of packaged, one reservation might be, well, I'm not a drama teacher, and of course we want to, if it's true, we want to assure people that that's not the point here, even though it kind of, for the kids it can become the point,
right?
But for the teacher, so what would you say to what first, like, what's your own experience with drama or whatever, if you have any, and second, if you could talk about how, the relationship between the drama and maybe how you don't have to be a specialist.
Well, I'm a musician. I play the violin. I've been playing in orchestras since I was 11 years old. So for me, being up on stage, to me, I feel more comfortable. But I have to be with a different group of people. I can't do it by myself. It's just a little bit too nerve-wracking to do that. So when I brought it up to my students, I mentioned to them when I had been little, I remember doing a play, that was, I think I had been in first grade, and that was something that stuck with me, forever, something that I always ended up doing. So when I started explaining it to my students, they kind of started getting a little bit more excited about it. I said, it doesn't need to be perfect, but it's something that's going to be fun and memorable. They also, I had taught them about I'm the Superwoman and Superman, and it really started bringing out a lot more of the personalities that are very shy and very quiet, very timid, to the point where some of my boys that are very exuberant and love to talk a lot and everything are very loud. They started talking to me, holding their books. I was like, Mrs. Vidal, I have a question for you, So it really started bringing out some of their personalities, and it was, really, you don't need to be a drama teacher to be able to show all the different little steps on how to really break out of that shell that a lot of the kids are stuck inside of.
And then how about how it's relating to, like, core curricular, not necessarily Common Core, but the basic job of
the teaching curriculum, everything, right? So with the
because you mentioned it, it's sort of like it's fitting right in.
It is. It definitely is fitting right in. So even like the fluency aspect, we're giving the DRA test now when we get back from our little mini vacation now, and this is something that's definitely helping them practice, and just reading it over and over and over again. It's practicing with fluency, practicing with vocabulary, the whole academic and domain specific and everyday words having discussions about that. Why does this word fit in this category? Why does it fit in that one? Tying it into like with science when we're teaching our science unit and we're saying, well, we know the word wave, but what does it mean in this context? What does it mean in that context? So it is tying the different subject areas. Same with the social studies with the government. That is something that we cover in 4th grade. So, understanding the difference in monarchy and democracy. Why are we a democracy? Why are we not, a monarchy? So it does tie
Just one
everything
small
in.
war.
Yeah, that's all. A couple, little
A long
letters.
time ago.
Yeah, but and now that 4th grade does start tying into nonfiction, this starts fitting in. So
Right.
yeah. It's good.
And what about if you could describe a little bit about the experience of the visual radio play and sort
That
of
was
how the
neat.
technology aspect of this.
So we ended up watching it on the Promethean board up in my room, and it was really neat, especially at the very beginning where they're text messaging one another. Just being able to see everything and hear everything, and then having the vocabulary words that are in the hypergloss be able to pop up in red, just to kind of give it a different color. That really made it a little bit more helpful for the students. Even the parts where there's the questions for us to discuss afterwards, having that be in a lighter shade of the black. It was much easier to see it on the board versus when it was in the book, because it's, a black and white copy. So it does make it a little bit more difficult, but when it was on the board, it made it a lot easier. The volume of it, the music that's attached to it, it really brought more life to the story, to the play. So it was neat. It was good.
It's good. Good.
It was good.
I can't spend anything else that about this that.
It's been a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it myself.
Good. Well, we'll keep it
Yeah,
rolling.
That's good.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Good.